Hey there. So this is particularly for those of you who are doing the picture in um, Snap. Rachel, I'm thinking about you in particular, and you're wanting to figure out how to go ahead and do like make a circular effort. So it would be is this one 1.3b, and you're aiming for this sort of thing. So you're thinking, how am I going to make this sort of circle with my Snap program? And here's how you're going to be doing it. So we've got Snap going on here. And what you want to think about is that um, you've got your pinwheel block, and then you want to do something along these lines. So our concept is going to be as follows. So we've got our X and Y coordinates here. 0, 0 is right in the middle, just like it is in math. Although I'm going to put the disclaimer, this isn't how computer screens actually work, but they do here. And they're going to run something, you want to go around this circle, looping around this circle. And that, for every spot on the circle, there's an X and Y coordinate with that particular thing. So that's good. So now you're saying, I know my X value, let's say this is going to be negative 100, and then I'm going to loop over here over to 100. So for every X location along this way, let's say we're going to do it at groupings of 10 or 15 or something like that, I'm going to need to calculate a positive Y value and a negative Y value. Fortunately, I know my circle equation is x squared plus y squared equal to r squared. And I'm going to say I have a radius of 100, since I'm going to assume that this is going to go out by 100. So how can you put that into code? Well, that's an excellent question. So let's take a look here. So what I want to think about doing is I'm going to be using a for loop here, because that way I have a variable. And I'm going to switch my I to be x for clarity's sake. And then we're saying I'm going to run from negative 100, up to 100. And that way I'm going to be going across my circle. So then I know I want to be calculating a y. So I'm going to come up here and I'm going to create a variable called y and hit OK there. And there it has it. Then I'm going to set my y to, well, not to 0, because that's an unhelpful situation for us, but I'm going to set my y to be a nice big equation. So I'm going to start here, and I know, like, when I do this, I really am going to want the square root. So let me go ahead and find my square root in here. Oh, there it is. I'm going to say it's going to be the square root of, and it's going to be the square root of a big mess. Well, not really a big mess, of two things. It's going to be the square root of r squared minus x squared. So now I'm going to do this. I'm going to say it's, drop that down here. And let's see, it's going to be, oops, not the log. 1 square sine e to the 10 to the 2 to the, well, I don't find anything I really want there, do I? Oh, power. I believe that this is power, so like 2 to the 3rd, 8. Good. Okay, so this is the block I want. Sorry, I didn't recognize that right off the bat. Okay, so it's going to be power of, well, I know my radius is going to be 100, so I'm going to go 100 squared minus my power of, well, I want x. So I'm going to take x down to here, also squared. So now I've got y is the square root of 100 squared minus x squared. And we can see it calculate here. So what if I run this thing? 60, there's a lot of values there. Alrighty then. Okay, and notice they were all positive, so I'm going to have to do something to do the negative first. But let's hold on to that idea. So then what I'm going to say is, okay, now I've calculated my y values, ranging here. We'll talk about how come they're not, remember they're positive right now because y is going to be same going up here, same going down there, and we want the have or some positive and negative business there, but we're okay. Nonetheless, we're okay. So now I'm going to put this inside of another block, or no, actually, I'm going to have my sprite go to. So I say I'm going to go to, and I'm going to go to X, and then I'm going to go to Y. So my sprite should move along that particular set. I'm going to start off in the 0, and now let's run it. And now we can see, oh, there's Y. Oh, there's my sprite going all the way around to a half circle. Great. Now I'm going to say at each one of these locations, draw a pinwheel. Let me clear my screen, it's getting jumbled. Go to 0, 0. And now, oh, look at there, it's starting to make a pattern of, oh, that's awful cluttered though, isn't it? I'm probably not going to want to be stepping by one like I am. Alrighty, so let's hit pause there, because boy, that's going to be a little bit of an exhausting event. And let's say we're going to change this up. So now I don't want to just add 1 each time. I'm actually going to set X. Actually, let me get rid of this. It defaults to incrementing by 10, or by 1, sorry. It defaults to incrementing by 1, but I'm actually going to change this. I'm going to change it also by 9. So I'm going to add like an extra 9 to it. And this should run things faster. There we go. So we're spacing things out more. Ooh, but maybe not quite enough. So maybe I'll change it and say I'm going to add 15 to it. And again, you can play around. I didn't clear my screen. You can sort of play around with what looks like a good value there. And maybe it's really 20. And again, I have no expertise for what would be a good value here, other than you want to kind of space some things out. And you might even want to change this range. Maybe don't run from negative 100 to 100, maybe do 200 to something. I don't really know what that could be. So at on the rate, now I've got that. So I want to duplicate some of this stuff. Oops, I don't want to start it, I want to stop it. Okay, so now I'm going to duplicate, now I'm saying, okay, I'm actually going to want to do one other thing before I change that. I'm going to go to X, but now I'm going to go to the negative Y location on there. There, it's going to be -1 times, I'm going to grab that Y. So I'm going to go there, and then I'm going to draw a pinwheel of 5 as well. So now, clear the screen, go to 0, 0. Now let's run it. And so you can kind of see it toggling back and forth over the axes. Again, I'm not really wild about this changing X thing. I'm not wild by it at all. But I feel like it's under the hood. But this is the general idea that we can roll with. All right, so to carry on with the video, I've changed things a little bit because I did a bit of experimentation. So as you can see here, what I did is I created my own variable X. I like this better than using the for loop because the for loop wasn't giving me control of the variable at all, so I wasn't getting quite the result I wanted. But now I'm saying I'm setting X to 160. Repeat until X is a positive 150. I do the same equation for Y. Go to the positive area, go to the negative, draw a pinwheel, go to the negative one, draw a pinwheel, and then I increment or I change X by 20. So I add 20 to it. That works out a little bit better, as you can see through here. You'll want to refine this as you go, but I think this should be enough to get started.